Now he's here for you because he's saying, look, I built this incredible business. I'm not in that business anymore, and I'm going to build it. And then what Jay adds to that, and he drills it into me all the time. On Sunday morning, I get a phone call from Jay. Reads my blog. I do my blog every Sunday morning. A lot from him. And he calls me and tells me how great the blog was. And then before that, I get off that call. At some point in that call, Jay says, Brian, it's your moral responsibility to keep teaching this shit. Moral responsibility is the word he uses. And so, and that's who he is. I mean, he doesn't have to do this. I don't have to do this either. But if you're not going to take what you learn and share it, it's the most fulfilling thing. And for me, we talked about technology. The most rewarding thing for me on a Sunday morning after I blog, and I get an email from like someone who's in their 20s or 30s, who assumes I'm some old fogey dinosaur of some sort, and they're telling me that, wow, if I understand those fundamentals, which are in the book that you have, by the way, if I understand those fundamentals, I might actually do my Facebook advertising even better. I might, and the ones who say, Brian, you're a dinosaur, fuck you, then I say, please unsubscribe. Please unsubscribe. But I'm here to teach, you're here to teach, you're here to teach. And so I think, I had to say that because, this guy has been just the most, and he's writing forward to my next book. So that's how important he is. And that's how important he is to me. And Mike and I have become just great friends. And I come down. I live in Connecticut, so he says, "Come down." I come down. You'd be sick of me by the time. But now I've talked too much. So
can you real quick, because a lot of the room, probably 75% don't know who you are. You have this book, which is great. You're going to dig into that. Can you just give your 1 minute? This is who I am. This is what I've done, and then we'll dig into questions.
Yeah, and again, it's like the past is the past. There are two times now and not now. So we're just going to talk about now. But if you want to hear, I helped build a company called Boardroom Incorporated. We publish newsletters and books. We were one of the iconic companies in direct marketing with a lot of companies that Jay consulted to, including mine. My mentor was Marty Edelstein, who founded that business. Jay and him were also very close. And so I took that company. I did not start it. I'm not a bootstrap entrepreneur. I got to that company when I was 23 years old. It was a $5 million business, and Marty and I built it to, at its height, we were a $160 million business. All through direct marketing, multi-channel. That's my thing. Multi-channel. Remember, the most dangerous number in business is 1, right? So I started direct mail, and just like personal one-on-one is coming back, direct mail, it's like these 27-year-olds who email me. I go, hey, there's this new medium called direct mail. Have you ever heard of it? And so what goes around comes around. I'm not saying direct mail is the be-all, end-all either.
How many pieces of direct mail did you send?
Yeah, I think I calculated in the last 20 years of my career, it was 1.3 billion pieces of direct mail. I didn't lick every stamp. I had some help. And then I think in my whole career, with all the impressions that I did in print, in inserts, in bank statements, and I did everything. I never met a medium I didn't like. The one thing I like to say, though, is that there were two media choices I made to go advertise. I mean, I say media choices, a place to advertise. I advertised on the back of yogurt lids once. Bad idea. It's all like sticky and shit. You're not going to sell a lot of shit when they can't read it with yogurt over it. Bad idea, Brian. And then the other one was the back of ATM receipts. Who the fuck is walking around with an ATM receipt after they take money out and they're going to buy my product? So 2 really good ideas at the time. But the lesson there is never met a medium I didn't like. Because if you can reach customers, you got to meet them where they want to be met. Whether it may not be yogurt lids or ATM receipts, but it might be direct mail, it might be email, it might be Facebook, it might be at their kitchen table with an Entenmann's walnut ring.
And Brian, how many variables, both in copy, position, proposition, different lifetime value for different categories, profiles, how many do you think you've studied?
How many I've studied?
How many you tested?
Oh God, yeah. So actually, that's a more impressive. You always ask the best questions. We did an interview called "Riffing with Socrates." He's got the Socratic method, right?
That was great.
That was great, yeah. So that's a great question. So me telling you I did 2 billion impressions is less impressive than if I told you that I've made 650 or 1,000 tests of A versus B, of this copy versus that copy, or this, or it applies to you guys. Don't think this doesn't apply to you. You have that, remember what Mike said before about you have these entry points that you can get into your customers, but you want to get in on that one entry point first. So you want your message to be tested to people who just need plumbing, for example. And that message should be about plumbing, not about everything that you can give them. Because if your initial message is too confusing, it's not. So that's stuff I tested all the time. So I would say the number is probably in the thousands.
But let me ask you a different question, because I think people don't realize the profound variation. In other words, when I say to somebody, because you don't know what I've been doing lately, but I've been breaking apart all the sub-impact points of things like, first of all, the revenue cycle, things like Advantage, and looking at how much variation and leverage you have, not in the totality, but in the more granular elements, and people don't realize it's off the chart.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a real granular. So let's say you've got a business that your expertise is being an electrician, and you know that area so well that you actually can be your best own copywriter, your best own person that can write that message about you being that, remember I said before, being a trusted advisor as opposed to being a commoditized vendor. Big distinction. But you're the one that can write that. Once you're in their house fixing their electricity, that's the moment of truth where then you move to the next step. So, but that initial messaging to list, this is really granular shit. It's like everything is about message to list. There are three, I have a chapter in my new book, which is what I call the 40-40-20 rule. I talked about it the last time I was here, that everything you do in marketing or business comes down to three things. 40% importance on the list that you're going after. Your dad knew that.
Yeah.
40% on the offer that you make to them eventually. Free consultation, bonus, here's a book, whatever. And then 20% on the creative and the messaging that you do. The messaging isn't half as important, meaning it's 20 versus 40. But you need to get those other things in shape first. You got to know who your list is, who you're talking to, and then you can figure out what the best offer is. You got to do testing on that, and then we figure out the best messaging. It's not that complicated. There is some stuff in this book. I go deep in my new book about it, but I talk about this all the time, and it applies to my business when I was at Boardroom, where we were, $150 million business, mailing 1 billion pieces of direct mail, and it applies to an HVAC business that has a list of 1,000 people or 500 people or 100 people, and how you're going to message them and what offers you're going to make to them, how you're going to talk to them, how you're going to sit in their kitchen. I actually like the Edelman's chocolate chip cookies a little bit better, and I like those big chocolate donuts too, unfortunately. But the walnut ring is good. But there's so many aspects to this, and it's all about relationship. But you can test everything. I think what Jay was getting at is that we're not scientists. I was an English major. I went to Rutgers.
What would be great is for Jay to start with you next and is talk about the customer service being a marketing function. I think Jay has a theory of preeminence, and you have it of customer relationships. So Jay, if you could start talking about that customer relationship side of things.
So first of all, and not to be